Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/spookshow. Then go over to morbidlybeautiful.com as we are now part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcasting Network.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
You vote too! You vote too! You vote too!
Everybody here dies by dawn. Dead by dawn!
Welcome to the Spookshow. Welcome back to another episode of the All-American Spookshow podcast. I'm Josh, and I'm joined here with Donnie, Tiana,
Hey.
and the Professor Smoke.
What's up?
And speaking of the Professor Smoke, it was your choice this week, and the only criteria was it had to be something from the year 2000 to like 5 years ago. So what is that, 2021? So that's your time frame that you had to pick one from, a horror movie.
Yes.
So
naturally, I went with 2000.
Yeah. So you went back as far as the time machine would take you. Almost literally, because the release of this movie, it came out wide April 14th of 2000, but it actually debuted January 21st of 2000 at the Sundance Film Festival. So you literally went all the way back to almost January 1st of 2000 to find the movie that we're talking about here. So what movie?
Yeah, I didn't plan.
Yeah.
I didn't plan to go back that far.
So what movie are we talking about here this week?
American Psycho.
Which this might shock all of y'all. I have never seen this movie before.
What?
It's just one of those movies that was like,
I was shocked at that.
I was just like, it's on my list. I'll get to it. And then 26 years pass. And I'd never sit down and watch the fucking thing. For no particular reason, just got lost in the shuffle. Like Smoke with the Paranormal Activity movies, or,
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it just happens that way. It's not on purpose. It just,
Yep.
things fall through the cracks. So, yeah, this was a first-time watch for me. So I guess we'll have perspectives of all different kinds here, right? Because, Donnie, you've seen it before?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times.
Smoke, I know you've seen it at least once because you're the one that brought it to the table, right?
Yeah, I don't know how many. I don't know. A lot. More than two handfuls of times, probably.
And Tiana, I'm sure you've got the T-shirt and the Blu-ray and all that stuff, so you've seen it a couple times, right?
Yep, got the pillowcase.
Yeah.
It's Brian's pillowcase, actually.
An American Psycho curtain, you could say. It's technically not a curtain, but it's a blanket that we use as a curtain.
What the hell is this pillowcase for this? What is it? Is it just his...
It's just the cover with him holding the knife.
Oh, okay. I mean, because it could be a number of things. I'm like, wow, what do we got? What kind of wild card?
Actually was when Spencer's, sold that stuff for Hot Topic. I probably got it from Hot Topic not long when the movie came out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that this movie's it's already been out damn near 26 years. And it took me that long. Some of the background information, like I just went through the release dates there. This was produced by Edward R. Pressman Productions and Muse Productions, and it was distributed by Lionsgate Films. Of course, if you've ever seen this, you know that it is rated R, total runtime of 1 hour and 42 minutes. On IMDb, it's listed as a crime, drama, horror. It was filmed mostly around the Toronto area up in Canada, but also some other stuff was shot around New York City as well from February 28th to April 23rd of 1999 for a budget of $7 million. And it went on to a worldwide gross of $34.2 million. So like pretty successful, not like, crazy holy shit kind of successful, but pretty successful. And obviously I think this is one of those ones that has kind of got more of a cult following in the years after, right?
Yeah.
The weekend that it released wide was April 14th through the 16th of 2000. So I've got the top box office. When we have this is always interesting. So let's go through it. I got number 10. Oh God almighty. That WCW wrestling movie, Ready to Rumble.
Oh shit.
Was in its second week when this came out.
That's what? That
was number 10.
Ugh,
number 10 in the box office in its second week. Number 9, this is a good one. The first Final Destination movie was in its fifth week at number 9. Number 8, a movie that I haven't seen probably since this time period, The Skulls. That was in its third week. Number 7.
I don't even remember that movie. The Skull?
The Skulls. It's not. I don't think it's a horror movie. My recollection of it. It's kind of like.
okay.
Oh God, I can't even describe it. But it's not a horror. It's for something that sounds like a horror movie. It's not a horror movie kind of thing. It was like a evil frat or some shit like that. I don't even.
Yeah.
That's all I kind of remember about it. Number 7 in its debut weekend, American Psycho made $4.9 million during its first weekend. Number 6, Return to Me in its second week. I don't recall that right away. Number 5, The Road to El Dorado was in its third week. That was a DreamWorks animation movie. Number 4, one of Donnie's favorites from that time period, Aaron Brockovich, was in its fifth week.
Thanks.
Yeah. Number 3 in its opening weekend, Keeping the Faith. That's a Disney flick. Number 2, 28 Days, also in its opening week.
Huh?
What is it? That's not like 28 Days Later and all that shit, right? What is that? 28 Days?
No, I don't know. I don't
It's
know
not
what that is. But
Oh, is that the one with Sandra Bullock where she's
Oh,
in
yeah, yeah.
rehab? I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I see it there now with Sandra Bullock and Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah.
I found it there. That was in its opening weekend. And number 1 in the box office, Rules of Engagement for the second straight week. It's a Paramount flick. So, yeah, not a lot of crazy good movies there and a lot of what American Psycho would probably be the highlight there. I guess Aaron Brockovich, though, I think that one on to win some Oscars and stuff, right? I think. It was,
Yeah.
at the time. Also playing, I'm just going below the top 10 here. American Beauty was still out in theaters. That one might have been the one that won some big Oscars that year. our old pal Kevin Spacey.
Stop.
Yeah, that's a movie that just kind of died away, didn't it? Was it Jet Li? Romeo Must Die? Wasn't he in that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Leah.
Mission to Mars. Toy Story 2 was still playing. Oh, The Sixth Sense. Good Lord. The Sixth Sense was in it was number 24 this weekend, but it was in its 37th week. Dude, around this time period, I should add, I was working in a movie theater around this time, which is another surprising thing that I didn't see this movie when it came out because I was working in a movie theater when it came out. I don't know how that happened. But anyways, The Sixth Sense, I remember that movie playing like a fucking year later. It was still in the damn theater. Like, not like one of those things they do now where like, it's out and then comes back or something. No, like it just never went away.
Stayed there.
Yeah. For like a year. I'm not even exaggerating. It was crazy. Yeah, there you go. That's the snapshot of that weekend in the year 2000. In the year 2000. This was directed by Mary Herron, who also directed the movie called The Notorious Betty Page, and another one I think she did before this was I Shot Andy Warhol, which I haven't seen either of those. And the funny thing is, if you look at Mary Herron's career, it's not like she stopped doing stuff after this, but there was nothing like on this level really arguably ever again. Like she's done a lot of TV. That she did that Betty Page movie like a handful of years after this, but like it's kind of crazy. Like after first time for me watching this, that like she didn't go on to make at least. I mean, it's hard to always top your best, quote unquote, right? But like nothing that I even saw in there was even close to this on that level wise. You would think somebody attached to something like this would have got another opportunity at some point down the line, but no. I don't know what the full story is with that, but it didn't do much else, other than a lot of television shows and stuff. She was also one of the screenwriters on this too. She got a screenplay credit along with Guinevere Turner, who I think she'd worked on that movie Blood Rain. I think she's been an actress too. Yeah, so she's an actor in a lot of stuff, Guinevere Turner, but she also worked on Blood Rain and a couple other things. She was a writer on that, and the Notorious Betty Page as well. So there's that connection. So I'm assuming they're partners in some way, her and Mary Herron. The cast, Christian Bale as Patrick Bateman. I mean, like one of the better actors of a generation, right? I mean, inarguably.
Well, this pretty much was, when people are like, "Whoa, who's this?"
Who's this young fellow?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, pretty much since then, right? Like, I mean, the dude's gone on to be.
Well, he was a actor, when he was a kid too. He was in.
Oh yeah, he was in stuff, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Empire of the Sun.
Yeah, but he was a little kid when he did that,
that's
right?
True.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, he was.
This was probably his breakout role, as far as like Tiana said, like you've got a leading role.
Yeah.
Like here we go, because I'm just looking through his list. Like there's stuff, not that any of that stuff's bad, but like it's voice work, it's stuff when he was a little kid and all that. And then all of a sudden he's this, you know. And then after this, or at least a few years after this, it to the moon, you know, like he did a lot of good stuff in between this, like The Machinist. But then he did Batman Begins in 2005, and then like just about everything else after that.
The Machinist, that is absolutely something we should get into. Maybe Cult Corner, because holy fuck.
Yeah, that's definitely a Cult Corner type of.
Damn.
Yeah, because he lost all that weight. I mean, he was like what do you call that? A character actor where he's going to really get into the role, and he lost I don't know how many pounds.
And he's
that would definitely be an interesting movie to do, so we can get all the background on it.
He's one of those dudes that's done that a lot too,
method acting.
Whatever, method, whatever. Like
you know what? I like Daniel Day-Lewis. He kind of reminds me like Daniel Day-Lewis in that way.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but definitely, inarguably, I think one of the better actors of the last quarter century, Christian Bale for sure. Justin Theroux as Timothy Bryce, Josh Lucas as Craig McDermott, Chloe Sevigny as Jean, his secretary.
Speaking of her, but before we move on from her, have y'all ever seen Kids?
Yeah.
Everybody here seen that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah. That was the first movie I remember her from.
Yeah. And when was that before? I mean, obviously that was before this, but like,
it's like 94, I think.
I was about to say, it's probably mid 90s, right? I'm kind of.
Yeah, 90. I think I was in the Navy when that came out. So it had to be between 93 and 96. I mean, well.
Oh, here it is.
I know it was 92.
It was 95.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, because she was, a couple years after that, she was in Gummo, which I think is another one of those.
yeah. By the same director, yeah.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah. That's in the new series that we'll have coming up. It's just called What the Fuck? Or Egads or something like that, right? Reese Witherspoon. It's a kind of a small role here, but she plays his girlfriend, I think, or fiance, whatever she is.
Evelyn,
right? Yeah. She's in it.
Evelyn, yeah, I think right. Yeah.
Paul Allen. That's the character in the movie because the name becomes a big part of this movie, right? Paul Allen. That is played by Jared Leto. Oh, Morbius himself.
Yeah.
It's Morbius time.
Yeah, it's Morbin time.
Paul Allen time.
Yeah. Hey, Paul. Willem Dafoe, another great. I mean, like God Almighty, like the last 30 years or so, give or take, right? One of the better actors in the biz. He plays the detective Donald Kimball. Yeah, and there's lots of other. I mean, those are the biggest names, various size roles. But I mean, really, this movie is carried by Christian Bale, right? Like, not that these people don't play a big part in it, but they're all pale in comparison to what Christian Bale is asked to do in this movie. As far as carrying this movie all the way. But yeah, really good young cast too, for the most part, especially in the year 2000, right? Like these are very early works of, other than like kid stuff of like Chloe Sevigny or when she was a little younger, Reese Witherspoon. But I guess this is about the time she's about to break out too, right? Yeah. Great casting in this movie for sure. So
yeah,
if nothing else. And
before we go any further with this too, I don't know if I'm the only one here who's ever read the novel by Bret Easton Ellis.
Obviously, I've never seen the movie, so I've never read the novel. But yeah.
I'm gonna.
And I'll just go. I'll go on record saying here. I don't know if y'all remember when that novel. I actually don't remember the exact year it came out, but I just remember the controversy that surrounded it when it came out. And it had a bookstore at that time. The mall here in the small town I'm in, the mall was halfway decent. We had a bookstore in there, but I don't even know if it was one of those things where a lot of bookstores were banning it. And it wasn't a ban in the sense of like, here's a book ban. It was like individual bookstores would either carry it or not carry it, depending on what they, what their stance on it was. Because it's very controversial. It's extremely way, way more violent and gory than anything they could ever put in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read it since probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years before the movie came out. That was the last time I read it. I only read it that one time.
Yeah,
but
the novel,
way that it's written.
The novel that you're talking about is the same title, American Psycho, and that was written by Bret Easton Ellis, and that was published in 1991.
91, yeah. So when it came out, I was in high school. It was my senior year, 91, 92. But I remember going to try and buy it from that. I didn't get it till a few years later. I think I was out of the Navy when I finally got it. So probably read it sometime around 96, 97. But I just remember it being a big thing, and it was a thing in the paper about it. It was just a huge controversy over it. The sexual stuff that's in it's way, way more than what's even in the movie as well as the outright gore and violence or whatever. Because he describes in the novel things that you can't really. Not only can you not show them properly unless you do it in a full-on, unrated grindhouse type way. No Hollywood movie is going to put what's in the novel in the movie. But just the way it's described, you can't really do it that way because it's all monologue in his head,
That goes along with a lot of notes that I've seen about this movie, at the time it came out and even since, is that this was always somewhat considered unfilmable.
Yes, yeah. I would say that that's true, except I'll say that, and then I'll also say that for what it is, this movie, without giving away, we're not going into ratings and all that stuff yet, but I will say that I think she did the best, and the writers and director or whatever, the best they could with making an unfilmable movie.
Yeah.
Because as the novel is written, you can't really do it that way for a number of reasons. One, like I said, it was way, way too violent and sexual to put that in a Hollywood movie. Or even if they did it the way the novel was, it would be gorier than Serbian film. It would be gorier than Cannibal Holocaust. It would be up at the top of the most extreme movies of all time because of just the way that it's described in the novel and the nonchalance with which he does it, which you see that in the movie, but he's doing it, he's dissecting bodies and doing, just stuff that you don't see in the movie necessarily. You get a taste of it, of how he is, just through his mannerisms and some of the violence that is in the movie. But just know that if you ever go read the novel, it's way, way, way more extreme than the movie is. But I mean, that being said, though, it's not necessarily that it's exploitation in the way a grindhouse movie is. It fits his character because he does things, he dissects and does all these things with his bodies, and he describes it in the same way that he's describing his facial moisturizer and shampoo. The way that the beginning of the movie opens, where he's talking about all the things he does to prep for his day before work or whatever, his exercise routine, just nonchalant laying out the way he's doing it. And so he does that when he's killing people. And also the body count in this movie, which we'll get to when Tiana does her kill count. Let's just say it's more than what they show in the movie as well.
Which something you said there reminded me, like one of the descriptors of this movie is a black comedy horror movie.
Yeah. And I would say that goes for the novel too. It's just you really have to have a dark sense of humor to appreciate the humor that's in the novel or in the movie, but certainly in the novel.
I think the black comedy to me from this, this is the first time I've watched it, comes from the way he's acting about it. Like, and the way he talks to people. It's funny, but like, it's still like, you stop short of rooting for the guy, obviously, but because he's a fucking maniac. He's a psycho, right? American Psycho. But I think it's just the way he's presenting himself, the way he's talking. And I'm sure some of this had to have been like a choice by Christian Bale, the way he wants to portray it. The way he matter-of-factly talks and, delivers the lines and everything. That's funny. Yeah. That's funny. Even though it's dark as hell, that's funny to me.
There's something that I was reading where he kind of took, I think it was one of Tom Cruise's interview from Letterman or something, where he's constantly friendly and there's like,
I can see it,
nothing behind his eyes.
Yeah. Which I guess that's kind of the the gag of the whole thing is that like this dude he's gone.
Yeah.
He's just a husk or something. You know,
Yeah, and a lot of that is just it comes from the novel, but also it's sort of a satire of Wall Street type people.
Yeah, yeah.
Where they're kind of plasticky, you know, and like kind of fake in a way. They have all these things in their head, but they're not really. They're just vapid.
Which, you know, we'll get into the ending of this, but like that plays a big part into at least one interpretation I saw of the ending. Because, you know, like I said, we'll get into this in a few minutes, but like the ending is one of those where you're like, okay, what the fuck was that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I went to go look some stuff up just to see, like, is there something I missed or some way I'm not interpreting this or something? So we'll get into that. But, I mean, it ain't Black Christmas, but it's, you know, it's dark in its own ways, right? Like I said, delivering lines that he has, the way he says them and what he's saying right off the top of the movie or in the first few minutes of the movie where he goes to a nightclub and he's talking to the bartender or he's getting a drink or something at the bar. And then the woman turns around to make the drink. And then he just says, I want to stab you to death while playing in your blood. And then she just turns around. What's that? Oh, nothing. You know, like, it's like, good Lord. So, you know,
hey, before
you're into some shit
before
here.
we go too far with that though, like there's I mean, it kind of ties in with the ending too, but also because we're talking about these things as we go through the movie, you don't know whether that what he's saying is out loud or in his head.
Yeah, well,
and whether the person hearing it, there's a whole like layers to this thing. Whether he's even saying it out loud or it's in his head, whether he does say it out loud, but because people don't really pay attention or really, you know, to what's going on around them, they don't even hear it right if they do, because there's one part where he says, I'm in murders and executions when some girl asks him what he does.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, how do you like that? Oh,
how do you like
mergers and acquisitions?
Yeah, how do you like mergers and acquisitions?
Yeah. So it's either that it's a joke, that it's a running gag that people say, oh, murders and executions, you know, because it's just, oh, I hate it, you know, it's whatever. Or he didn't say that. He said it, you know, in his head or whatever. Or he did say it and she doesn't even really pay attention to him anyways, and she just hears what she thought she heard. So that whole thing goes throughout the movie of people not hearing people's names right or getting their names right or confusing them with everybody else because they're all kind of the same and similar and vapid.
And I think one of the things that I saw from, it must have been Mary Herron, the director, and then talking about not only what she did in the film with this and, you know, obviously the source material from the book is that like, there is that comparison to those, I guess that yuppie Wall Street, like you said, lifestyle where like they are kind of self-absorbed. So, you know, they're kind of really pointing that out that like these people, like you said, this may or may not be happening, may or may not be saying these things, and these people aren't really paying attention, you know, because they're so wrapped up in their own little world that, you know.
And really that goes throughout the whole movie, and we'll get to that as we go along in it. But I mean, whether he's doing any of this or it's all in his head.
Is something really happening here, or are we going to April Fool's Day? We'll find out as we go along here, or at least we'll discuss it. I like that one part where he's doing sit-ups or something, you know, because they go through his whole makeup, quote unquote, regime, like his skincare routine and him bathing and all, you know, all these little intricate things, but he's doing sit-ups and he's just watching porn. Just casually, like just hardcore pornography going on while the dude just, it's just, once again, it's another one of those, like, what the fuck? You know, like, it throws you off, if nothing else. And maybe that's the point, right? One thing that becomes a big deal in the movie is the scene where they're comparing business cards.
Oh, man. Yeah.
You ever think you're going to care that much about business cards? Where they're focusing in on the texture of the card and the font that they use and it becomes a big deal because it kind of leads him down a path of being a psycho. And well, I mean, he's already there, but like, it's almost like the thing that sends him over the edge, right?
But did you notice how they're not even that much different?
Yeah, like that's
the
subtle.
whole point of it too.
Yeah, it's subtle. If it's subtle, if at all.
He was very angry about Paul Allen's. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like it almost like just because of these cards, it's kind of the thing that kind of sets him off, and you know. But I think really the first big murder scene you get here is where he just finds that hobo that's in the alleyway.
Oh yeah.
And Donnie, this is one of the Chucky. Fuck. This is a Chucky moment. Just make a note. He finds a hobo in the alley and like kind of, I guess, pretends like he's going to help the guy, and then just starts stabbing the shit out of him. Like just,
that's another scene where he's kind of like, you could see his, like he goes down to help him. He's like, I'm going to help you. And then he just he goes, what does he say? We just don't have anything in common.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, no, please, Mr. Help me. And then he puts his briefcase down and he, takes out a blade, I guess, of some kind, and then stabs him in the abdomen.
And then the dude has a dog, and then he just stomps the shit out of the dog. And thankfully, like, you kind of see it, but you don't see it. So, Donnie, that's one of your,
appreciate it.
Chucky moments.
Oh, by the way, this brings me to another point. There is an unrated cut of this movie and the R-rated cut.
Now, to that, I watched this on, as of March of this year. It was streaming on Amazon Prime or Prime Video. That's where I watched it, and it looked like there was a version that you could rent, like you had to pay for rent. And then there was another one that was just included with Prime, and that one that I watched, it said extended version, but it looked like it was only about a 4-minute difference. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's not a whole lot. No, it's not like one of those Blade Runner type deals.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, we talked about that. Good Lord. Or Apocalypse Now.
Yeah. It's definitely not like that. But, where there's like 20, 30 minutes of extra footage or something or whatever.
Damn near an hour, I think. And I don't know. Yeah, it looked like it was on like a 4-minute difference or whatever. So I don't know how different my experience was than the theatrical cut or which version I saw. It just said extended version is all it said. So I didn't dive deep into that. I would imagine if there is like a bloodier cut somewhere, that'd be a hell of a thing. If such a thing, how deep they went into it, I don't know. As far as like what they shot and then what they edited it down to, I don't know. But.
Yeah. But I don't think that. I mean, I didn't for this, but in the past I have listened to, I think, the commentary and seen some documentary type stuff on it, but I don't remember exactly what they said was different. I don't think there was a whole ton of stuff they shot that they couldn't use, other than what they put in the unrated cut, but only, like I said, about 4 minutes difference. So I don't think there was a ton of stuff that they gore and whatnot like that, violence that they shot and couldn't use. But as we go through the movie, you'll notice that, like, first of all, that scene was not gory at all, right? When we just talked about. So I don't even think there's any blood in the scene.
No, but it's rough because you see, you know what he just stabbed the shit out of that guy, and then he stomps out the dog. So, like, but it's not as horrible as that is what I just described. Like you said, it's not extremely gory.
Either,
so
it's another implied violence thing, like Texas Chainsaw or something. And whereas it's violent and messed up and disturbing, but zero blood in that particular. I mean, there's blood that comes later, like there's blood that comes later in Texas Chainsaw.
You can feel it. It's almost like you can feel it and you can almost taste it, but it ain't that bad. In context of what it could have been, I guess is the way to put it. Then you move on to what may arguably be one of the more famous scenes of the movie, right? The Huey Lewis hip to be squared.
Oh yeah,
that's another part of this too, like where he goes deep into talking about I don't know how to put it, like the music, like whatever. Kind of cheesy 80s music he's listening to, Whitney Houston, Huey Lewis, whatever the hell, but he's like getting all philosophical about it. Yeah,
that's more of that satire of them being, again, like he's breaking down this pop album from 1986 or 7 or whatever, it's Phil Collins album or what.
Yeah,
or the Huey Lewis album.
I think I saw somewhere this is supposed to be 1987, by the way.
Yeah. Yep. And so he's just breaking them down like but like it's just popular music. That's because he can't get into anything more artsy, let's say, than that.
Yeah.
And he talks about that, and he talks about, I think it's Phil Collins, right? He talks about Genesis' early albums that are too artsy for him.
Yeah.
Time for refreshment. Refreshment. For your enjoyment, there's hot, fresh popcorn, tempting, delicious hot dogs, and so many kinds of ice cream. And, of course, sparkling, delicious, ice-cold Coca-Cola for everybody at the refreshment counter now.
But it is funny, too, that about and I'm just thinking about what we're about to tease coming up next week and what we're going to be doing in the month of April. All about 1986. And this is a movie that's a movie from 2000 that's based in the year 1987. So it's only, so it's kind of like an appetizer in what we're about to do, but it's only like, a year later from what we're about to talk about, which is also funny too, Smoke, that you pick a movie as far back as you can go for the year 2000, and it's a movie that's based in 1987. So you found a backdoor way into the 80s, even though it's a movie from 2000. You still found a way. But I think this scene is one of the better ones of the movie, or at least one of the more memorable of the movie, where like he's listening to Hip to Be Squared by Huey Lewis, and he's talking all philosophical, like, this album, they came around, melodically and in their sensibilities and all whatever the hell garbage he's saying. And then he just picks up like this pristine axe as Jared Leto's character, Paul Allen, is just sitting there. I think he's drugged out or something, right? He's done cocaine, whatever's going on with him. And then he just picks up the axe.
He's talking about the newspapers on the floor, which Patrick Bateman had put there to catch the blood.
Yeah.
So he's talking about, why are all these newspapers all over the floor? I forgot, you painting or something?
And then he just goes, "Hey, Paul," and then just bashes him with that axe.
Yeah.
Blood spurts up in his face and all over the place.
And then Huey Lewis goes full volume.
Yeah, hip to be squared, like as dude's being axe murdered.
And again, to the credit of, it's a Hollywood movie, originally R-rated. I don't know if that scene, it would have been good. I should have done this beforehand, think about it, but comparison of the difference in the unrated versus R-rated cut. But the axe scene is not really that gory either, but it's like blood splattering up on him as he's chopping, and then Paul Allen's body hitting the floor. You see a blood pool come out from it. And really that's most of it, right? I mean, it's gruesome and violent, but it's not really, it wasn't even really pushing the R.
No, like you said, it's gruesome, violent, and everything, and it has a small amount of gore, but it's not as gory as it could have been, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's there, but it ain't there, kind of thing. Right after this, I had the scenes confused where he's working out. I said he was watching porn. There was a scene where he was watching porn, but I don't think he was working out. I think he's just talking on the phone.
Yeah, he's talking to the girl.
And there's porn.
He was also watching Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, that's the scene that I'm thinking of, where he's sitting there like he's doing sit-ups, and he's got Texas Chainsaw. The scene, the last 20 minutes of the movie where she's just screaming nonstop and he's chasing her around.
Y'all don't do that? Is it just me?
No, I don't think I've ever sat in the living room done sit-ups to Texas Chainsaw, but you got to get that working out however you got to do it, I guess. But
he also drops those little quips along. There's more of them in the novel, of course, than there is in the movie. But they're in there like like they'll just out of the blue having a conversation in the bar or whatever with the guys, or sometimes the guys and their girlfriends or whatever. And he's like, "You know what Ed Gein said about women?"
Yeah. And she's like, "Who's Ed Gein?"
Somebody says, "Is that the maitre d' at
one of those
Dorothy's or whatever?" or something
the yuppie
no,
restaurant.
he was a serial killer in Wisconsin.
That's neither here nor there.
And he would say whatever, whatever. Like, what the girl, you want to date a girl and take her out and all this stuff. And then the other, what was the other thing he thought about him? What her head would look like on a stick.
Yeah.
And then he starts laughing or whatever. And then they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And it's random things like that he would just drop. I think it was the Ted Bundy one in there and a couple other ones.
Well, speaking of random things, this is when we get the weird hooker three-way scene. I guess the first one, where he goes out and gets like a street hooker, right? And then he goes and like calls, like, I guess, to get the fancy hooker.
Yeah, another.
And then
escort service or whatever.
Yeah,
for another one, right?
Then he just has a wild night with. But there's this weird interaction where he's naming them names they're not or whatever, and he's trying to get them to role play in these different. I don't know what the hell, man. It's weird as shit. But then
he calls himself Paul Allen.
Yeah, which I'm thinking I'm thinking like
that's because
he's trying to set up the situation where like alibis and stuff, right? Because he's trying to get out of
the detective came and saw him.
Yeah. Which Willem Dafoe is great and everything the dude's in, right? But like he's doing a great job here, even though he's not in it that much, but the little bit he's in it, like, you get some good tension when he shows up between, the two characters, his detective questioning him, almost like kind of, he knows but maybe not. Maybe he does. Maybe I don't know. You know, they don't go too deep into that side of it, like what he actually does or doesn't know. Maybe he suspects. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. It's kind of that part. That loop is never quite closed throughout the entirety of the movie, really. But he's great in it as always. Yeah, the weird three-way, and then it ends with like him just. I guess they don't show it, but like they have a weird sex scene, and then it cuts to them like they go to the next level. I guess he just beats the shit out of him or something. I don't know. Like you don't see it happen. They just kind of walk out like I think she's got a bloody nose or something, and they're kind of
because they were trying to leave earlier. And he goes, "No, we're not done yet." And he's got the drawer open. He's got like a coat hanger and some other instruments. So then they don't show it, but
and then it just cuts to the next morning of them like dejected and hurt. Yeah. Like so clearly
like
some shit went down.
You know, like bloody noses and bruises and stuff.
Yeah, some shit went down that night. There's also a head in the fridge. I forget which. There's a decapitated head that he has in the fridge.
Yeah, that was
the lady that he killed earlier.
Yeah, he picked up a girl. They didn't really show it. They just kind of come into the scene where he's got this girl. You assume they were leaving a bar. He was probably hitting on her in the bar or whatever, and they were leaving together, getting in the car. Shows them driving off in the car or in the limousine or whatever, and then the next scene is him in his office twirling her piece of hair that he cut off her head.
Yeah. And then that's when you see that he's got her head in the refrigerator.
Yeah, there's a later scene whenever is it when the girl from work is there?
Yeah, it's secretary.
Yeah.
Jean.
He's got a date with her.
Chloe Sevigny's character, Jean, who almost gets nail gunned. Like, he's about to take her out, and then, like, I guess she says something that gets him to stop, and then I think he takes a phone call or something. I forget.
That whole scene is kind of funny, the satire in that scene, because he's, like, walking around his apartment, looking at different instruments, figuring out what he's going to use to kill her with. Possibly.
He's just nonchalantly talking to her about whatever, and then he's picking up duct tape.
Yeah, random things. Opening the drawer, here's some knives. He's like, and he closes the drawer, and then he goes and gets the duct tape, and then she's asking, "What is that?" He goes, "Oh, duct tape. I need it for taping something."
Yeah, taping something. And then he pulls out the nail gun, and he's about to take her out, and then she's, then he stops short and just tells her to get the hell out of there before he hurts her, basically.
Well, I think the phone rang, didn't it? Yeah, the phone rang, and his girlfriend was on there leaving a voice message, and then she kind of got weirded out, like, "Oh, I thought y'all had broken up or something, and you want me to leave," kind of thing. And then I think he did want her to leave because he knew he would kill her if she did stay.
You just reminded me of a line that is delivered at least a few times in this movie where he says, "I have to go return some videotapes."
Oh, yes.
One of the best lines.
That's become like just a big thing, meme, everything.
I have to return some videotape. And it's almost like it's once again, it's this nonchalant like way of brushing the situation away. Like, I got to go. I have to return some videotapes.
I think he uses it at the laundromat, right? Or not the laundromat, but the people, what do you call that? I guess the laundromat.
Yeah, it's a dry cleaner. The dry cleaner.
Dry cleaner, yeah. He's leaving and he runs into somebody. I got to go return some videotapes. And then he uses it with the detective, or he says, I was probably returning videotapes.
Yeah. So a few times it's his go-to excuse, I guess. Or
and after he breaks up with Evelyn, that's the best one.
Yeah, I just don't think we're like compatible or whatever it was. And she's like starting to get this trouble. I need to get out of here. I got to go return some videotapes.
Yeah, I have to get out of here. Where are you going? Why are you leaving? I have to return some videotapes.
I need to return some videotapes.
I guess it's 1987. You can't argue it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, like I said, I had about 7 or 8 video store cards at one time when I was able to drive. So many times I was returning videotapes.
And those late fees back then were hell. So you don't need to get that tape back in. But this is where it, after that, I think is where it really goes downhill, because then he has another weird three-way where he brings back the same street hooker, and then one of his friends or acquaintances or whatever she is.
It's some chick he met a while ago, I guess.
So he brings her in, and then they're having a three-way again. Then I guess he starts stabbing her or something. I don't know what the hell he did there. It's under the sheets.
I think he was biting her.
Whatever, but yeah, maybe. But it's under the sheets, and you see like blood spatter up on the sheets, and that's when the street hooker's like, "Oh shit!" She gets now she's she knows she's weirded out by him already. She books it, and then he just comes running down the hallway naked with a chainsaw, like chases her down the hallway.
On.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, there's yet another just like the brilliant kind of satire in there, because he's not. he took the time, and because he took the time because there was a little delay with him getting out there to put the sneakers on because he was going to be running down the hallway and he didn't want to mess up his feet or something, whatever.
Yeah. Even though he's covered in blood, he's butt naked, running down the hallway with a chainsaw. But then she's running downstairs, so multiple flights of stairs. Does he throw the chainsaw down at her?
No, he just drops. He's
drops
like,
it.
looks like
He lines it up.
He's lining up. Yeah, he's aiming where she's going to be down there at the bottom of the stairs, and then drops it. And I mean, it's kind of, it's a cool scene. It's ridiculous because I mean, it wouldn't be feasible.
No.
I mean, most of the other stuff in this movie would kind of be feasible, as far as until you get near the end, and then, well, we'll get to that part. But up to this point, these things are kind of feasible, these deaths and whatnot.
I think kind of going from that moment forward though is where like it goes nuts because like, yeah, that's totally nuts, the whole chainsaw thing and everything. But then he goes to an ATM and then he sees like a street cat walks up to him and he picks up the cat. And then on the ATM machine, it says, "Feed me a stray cat." So it's like the ATM machine's talking to him or something. So he literally tries to shove a cat into the ATM machine, but then some old lady walks up like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then he just
pulls the gun up to the kitten's head.
Yeah. But then he pulls the gun on her and just pow, just shoots her in the chest. And then cops pull up. He's running. He shoots at the cops, actually blows up the cop cars. So it's just like, what the hell is going on? This is where I'm like, okay, none of this is happening. This is all in his head, or maybe it is, and I don't know. Like this is where not necessarily where they lose me, but where you're like you said, believable. Everything is like it could happen or believable up to this. Not that it couldn't happen, but then it just becomes over the top. Everything that is happening, right?
And see, I don't know if that's working into his, as we were talking about, whether this stuff's real to him. Or, I mean, not real to him. Whether it's real, whether he's really doing it, or whether it's in his head, because things get more manic and more manic.
Yeah.
As the movie gets towards the climax.
Yeah, because he's got like helicopters following him, and then he calls his lawyer. He leaves a voicemail confessing to everything. Like, yeah, I've probably killed like 20, maybe 40 people. I killed all these women.
I've killed a lot of people.
20 hobos. Like he's just spewing it. Like he's confessing to everything over voicemail. Then the next morning, I guess he's kind of resigned himself. Like, well, I'm busted. Here it goes. He goes to Paul Allen's apartment and the whole place is clean. Meanwhile, there was that Friday the 13th-esque discovery scene during the hooker thing where she runs into
with all the bodies.
Yeah. Like there's a couple of bodies hanging in a closet, bodies laying in the tub. There's just parts and bodies everywhere in Paul Allen's apartment. And then meanwhile, like I said, fast forward, he comes back the next day and all of that's gone. It's like the place has been painted. Mm-hmm. There's a lady in there trying to sell the place. Like none of that was there. And she just tells him to get
that's kind of not the first part, but maybe the main part where you're kind of like questioning yourself whether, okay, is this really happening or is it really in his head?
Yeah.
Because if it's really happening, then who covered it up?
So the ending of the movie is he goes to lunch with the guys that he keeps going to lunch with or dinner or whatever throughout the movie. And they're just having random conversations. And then like he sees his lawyer who he had called and confessed to. He talks to him and doesn't call him Patrick Bateman. He calls him Davis. And then, but I'm Patrick Bateman, that kind of thing. And he's basically confessing to that guy. Like, I told you, I confessed, I did all this stuff. And then I was like, yeah, that was hilarious. Right. And it's like, like I said, it did happen in the sense, but it was almost like the guy didn't believe what he said. Yeah, that was a funny joke, but like, did this happen? Did it not? He talks to the guys at the table, and you notice there was a sign behind him when he's sitting there at the table that says, "This is not an exit." It's like,
yeah, that's a reference to, is it Jean Paul Sartre or something like there's a philosophical reference in there. No exit.
And I think what basically the last line of the movie is like, this confession has meant nothing. So like everything that he confessed to, like whether it happened, whether it didn't, doesn't matter because nobody's listening or nobody's, taking it serious. So that's basically
meanwhile
kind of how it ends, right? Gene
finds that book in his desk at the office.
Yeah, and like it's like here's dates of appointments and stuff, and then it gets crazier and crazier as you keep flipping the pages to like it's like
it's like drawings of murders.
yeah, sex
Women
mayhem and
being
murders,
tortured.
all kinds of shit. So
Yeah.
like, yeah. So you're left leaving like, okay, was this bullshit? Like I said, was it the movie April Fool's Day? So I don't know. Like, that, and I guess that's the quote unquote genius of it, right? It's like it could go either way. I guess it depends on the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, that kind of thing, right? How do you interpret it? That kind of thing. One thing that I saw, one interpretation that I saw was that like, some of that stuff happened, but not all of that stuff. Some of that might have been in his head, you know, and that's part of the psychotic breakdown that clearly this dude is going through. And you're viewing it that way, like kind of through his eyes. But then there's the opposite side of like that Wall Street yuppie type of self-absorbed type of people where they're not listening to him. That part of it is supposed to be like, supposedly like, where they're just so wrapped up in their own lives that they're not paying attention to what is going on right in front of them. So like it's really happening, but they don't give a shit because they're wrapped up in their own world. So I guess
that's part of the whole nobody knowing anybody's name, really. Are they always mistaking somebody for not somebody else?
Yeah,
because they don't really pay that much attention.
It seems like he is Patrick Bateman, and they call him Bateman, and people like. But then his lawyer, lawyer guy, calls him
some
Davis.
people don't. Some people call him Habersham, right? Oh, here's Habersham, or here's everybody's calling everybody different names because they don't remember. I mean, except for the people in your immediate circle, like his girlfriend, of course, is mistaken.
And that's that other thing of that self-absorbed, vapid type of shit, where like. You're living in the moment, but you're not really paying attention to anybody or anything. Because you don't care. So like, I don't fucking care what this guy's name is. He's just there, So like, I guess that's playing into that. But
nihilism, the vapidness, like you said, and the hedonism of the '80s,
It's an odd one. I'll say to me it was I guess we'll just go ahead and go into the final thoughts and the ratings and everything, and I'll start. So like, because this is the first time I saw it, like, it's a good one. It's a weird one. I didn't necessarily see that twist that maybe what you've seen isn't real, like I didn't really see that coming as I was watching it. Like I'm thinking like, this dude's just a fucking psycho. And then eventually he's going to go down in flames because that's kind of what the movie feels like. Is it's just dude's slow descent into self-sabotage. Like there was a time at some point in this movie where he could probably get away with what he was doing. But he just kept doing it and got more and more careless to the point of now, he's going to be busted is where I thought it was going. And it kind of does. But then it's just like, wait a minute. Like,
what?
Some of that might not have happened. None of that might not have happened. What the hell did I just watch? So it's interesting that way. It's odd. So, I guess I'm going to go, with I'm going to think about this one. I'm going to say 3 stars for now. And I'm going to think about this one for a little while. Might even watch it again between now and October, just to, but I enjoyed it. Like it's just that ending is a hard one to like, you got to stop and think about that one for a little bit. I need to soak since this is my first time. So I'm going to say 3 stars for now. So Donnie, what do you say?
Yeah. I've seen this, probably, a few times. I've always enjoyed it. It definitely has repeated watchability for me. I'm going to go 4 stars.
All right, Tiana, what do you say?
This is one of my favorites because I watched it as soon as it came out on video and I was able to watch it because I didn't get to see it in theater. I was like, whoa, where'd this come from?
Yeah.
Who's this guy? So, but, and I love those descending into madness kind of flicks too, where the characters just, even though at the end of this one, you're not sure if he really was or not, or just descending into madness in his own brain. But anyway, I give this one 5 stars.
Before you go, it kind of reminds me of other movies of the same time frame, like in a way, like Fight Club and Memento.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure there's a few others, but it's very similar in some ways I guess there was something in the water back in the late 90s, early 2000s where there these similar type of endings and twists on these movies, right? Smoke, you're the one that brought it to the table, so we'll let you clean up.
Yeah, like I said, I've probably seen this thing, I don't know, 8 to 10 times maybe. But like you were saying, when I first watched it, if I were to have to rate it after first watching it, I might have rated it lower than I'm going to rate. I might have rated it, like you said, the 3 or somewhere in there. And that's mainly because, like, I'd read the novel, and then, you watch. I knew that they weren't going to be able to do the movie as much justice, do the novel rather justice like that, like it. And you just can't. There's no way you could do it on different levels, and without, first of all, being a miniseries, and second of all, being the most disturbing extreme movie you've ever seen. If they were to do it exactly like the novel, so I knew that wasn't going to be the case. So you watch it the first time, I was kind of like, now I know you, Josh, don't have that going into it, like having read the novel first and then comparing it to that. But yeah, I probably would have given it a 3 that first time. But over the course of repeated viewings of it, it definitely grows on you. And like I said, I know you want to watch it again, and at some point, and you definitely should. I think the second viewing, and maybe you'll change if you watch it again before we do re-ratings, maybe you'll re-rate it. I don't know. I know that it took a few viewings for me to like really appreciate it to the utmost. But now, yeah, it's one of my personal favorites. The lines are, iconic and memeable. I mean, there's been thousands of memes from American Psycho, so that just does further to burn it into the memory, right?
Yeah, now I understand some of those a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah, because this whole layers to the memes,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna definitely. I can't give it any less than a 5, and that's it. I'm not saying this is a perfect movie, but it's a perfect movie for me, having repeatedly watched it. The first viewing would not have been a 5, sure. But yeah, over the course of however how many times it would have taken before I got to the 5, watching it maybe 3 times. That third time, like, okay, and then and then over the years, things sink in. Like that, I love the soundtrack, even though it's not. There's probably a lot of stuff they couldn't have used, because there's a lot of people that wouldn't have wanted their songs to be used in such a way. In such a movie. Like now you got Susu Studio is forever kind of tied to that scene.
Huey Lewis
is tied to that scene.
Of all songs and people, Huey Lewis.
Oh yeah, no. This we need to. I'll see. I assume y'all haven't seen this yet. There is a parody of Huey Lewis himself doing a parody of this movie in that scene. And if you haven't seen it, I'll send it to you after this. And I encourage anybody who hasn't seen it, listening to this, to go check out the Huey Lewis American Psycho parody.
It's got Weird Al, right?
Do what? There's a Weird Al. Oh yeah, it is. Isn't it Weird Al and him? Weird Al and Huey Lewis?
I think so.
I think it is. Maybe it is. Yeah. But yes, I encourage anybody to go out there, watch that too. But
for now, I'm the one that drug down the curve a little bit with my 3. So we're sitting at a 4 1/4, which obviously we highly recommend, and I do too as well. Even though I'm just giving it a 3, I have a feeling I'll watch it again, maybe later this summer, closer we get to October. I'll watch it again, and we'll see. I may go up or down. Who knows? Probably up. I wouldn't say down. 3 is my floor here for sure. If I'm gonna move it, it would be up, but for now, I'll stick with the 3. So 4 1/4, we recommend you go check it out. We should have reminded you that we are a spoiler-filled podcast, because we just spoiled the shit out of it. But oh well, the cat's out of the bag now. There was a 26-year moratorium, so it's fair enough, right? So there you go. So before we close the book on American Psycho and move on to tell you what we're going to be starting up next week, Donnie, what are the connections you can find for this?
Connections from the crypt.
Yeah, so on the cast side, we've got a few. Josh Lucas, who played Craig McDermott. He was also in Session 9 when we covered that a while back.
That's around the same time period, another Nutsacks movie, right?
Yeah. You talked about Jared Leto, Paul Allen. He was in Fight Club when we covered that in Cult Corner a while back. And Willem Dafoe, who played Donald Kimball. He was in Shadow of the Vampire when we covered that.
Man, that was a good one.
So that's the cast side. On the crew side, we've got special effects coordinator Michael Cavanaugh, who was also on the effects crew for Videodrome some time ago. So that's what we got.
All right, Tiana, what's the kill count that you come up with this one?
It's about 16.
Oh, wow.
If it really did even happen,
Well,
I don't know.
I
It's up to the viewer.
True. It is. You're right. It's up to interpretation, but I really think most of what you saw here was legit. That's just my feeling about it.
I mean, there is other people that say, oh, well, he did it all, but he got away with it because of who he is.
Yeah, that's
Because
obvious.
people were protecting him.
Yeah,
but
he's rich and they're able to kind of clean the slate, so to speak. So there is that side of it. You're right. Yeah. So what'd you say, 16?
Yeah.
I think it's a fair number for this. Like, to actually kind of suggest that it did happen, or at least mostly did. 16 is good enough. So we're not going to go with the horse shit April Fool's Day. You saw a dozen, but none of it happened kind of thing. I think you did see something here. That's that's my feeling. Let's talk about the kill reel.
Highlight kill.
I gotta go hit to be squared axe killing.
Yep.
There's a couple of good ones here, but I think that's the memorable Huey Lewis. I keep saying that, but what the fuck? Huey Lewis. Hey, Paul. Boom. Yeah, that's good. So I'm going to go with that as the highlight kill. So that goes straight to you after the highlight kill, Smoke. What do you got for the gore score?
Gore score.
Yeah, I mean, if you were judging this by the novel and whatnot, you would think that it would be a 10x, that we would get a 10x out of American Psycho, based on how gory the novel is. But they didn't go full on, even in the unrated version. It's mostly blood, there's nothing like actual too much dismemberment or anything like that. Like even with the chainsaw, he drops it and it, you see it falling through the air, and then you hear a scream. It cuts back to his face at the top of the stairs, going, and like an insane like laugh kind of thing, and then cuts to the bottom of the stairs, and the chainsaw is like impaled her in a side profile where the blood's like it's coming out, pooling out around her body. So it's not as gory as it could have been. So I mean, they had the chainsaw scene in there in some way, shape, or form, but they had to, again, cut it down to where it would fit in an R-rated movie. Now they could have added more to it. At that time, I don't know in 2000 how many movies they were putting out R-rated in the theater and then knowing they were gonna, have an unrated cut later type thing. So, but they didn't really do that either. They didn't really emphasize the gore per se. It's just the violence, and it's still disturbing as hell. So it's that type of weird. I mean, some of them are a little bit darkly humorous too, disturbing, but not overly gory. So, I guess I'll go with a 7 in the gore score.
Yeah, that's probably fair because, like you said, it could have been someone's Texas Chainsaw-esque in that it could have been worse.
Yeah,
very implied, but it didn't go quite as far as it could have. So, I guess they spared us a little bit here.
Yeah, I guess they were. I mean, I think it's masterfully done.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because it goes to a certain point, but doesn't go overboard with the gore to where it becomes almost. Because really, I mean, if they were to do it like the novel, again, it would be so extreme, but it would almost become cartoonish.
Yeah.
Rather than satirical, it would be. I don't know. It would just be so over the top that it would be too much.
Well, there you go. So we obviously highly recommend you check it out. And like I said, this movie is from the year 2000, but it's about the year 1987. So start next week, we're just going to back it up just one more year. And the entire month of April, we're going to be focusing on the year of 1986. So because it's 2026, so it's been 40 years. So these aren't exactly to the day, but everything we're going to be talking about are movies that were released in the year 1986. So roughly their 40th anniversaries. And we're going to be starting next week with my choice. So I get the opportunity to kick it off. And I'm really looking forward to this because I've never seen it. And we watched, what we're going to be talking about is Demons 2. Now, we watched Demons. That's Dario Argento, right? Mm-hmm. Argento.
Well, Lamberto Bava directed it and Argento produced it.
Okay, yeah. did the first one, and I really loved that. That was awesome. That movie is batshit crazy. Demons. So I'm hoping that Demons 2 is at least just as nuts as Demons is. So we'll find out. We'll all find out because I've never seen it. Like I said, it's one that's been on my list forever, and I've never seen it. So we will find out next week. But that's the way we're going to kick it off. We got lots of cool stuff coming up in the month of April, right here on the podcast, of course. All 1986 horror movies, and also over on Grindhouse Gutter and Video Vortex. They're going to be dipping into the 1986 deep end of the pool as well. So lots of cool stuff over the next month, and it starts next Monday with Demons 2. So that's it. So for Tiana and the Professor Smoke, Donnie, I'm Josh. We are the All American Spook Show, and we will talk to you next week when we begin the 40 years of 1986.